We'll now be moving on to item C1, Sobell Leisure Centre facilities changes. Councillor Turan, will you please introduce?
Thank you, Leader. So basically, just to start, we are in an unenviable position where we have had to decide and say that following a devastating flood which has destroyed the Sobell Centre's ground floor, that we are minded not to reinstate the ice rink. We are determined to create a more equal Islington, where all our residents can easily enjoy, the physical, mental and social benefits of exercise. We know how important the Sobell Leisure Centre is to local people and how devastating last year's flood and the resulting closure of the centre has been. It's now vitally important that we rebuild the centre to ensure that it serves local people of all ages and backgrounds, and our proposals seek to do just that. Through our consultation, we want to hear local people, their views on the future of the centre. The proposed changes, which are in the plans, which we intend to consult local people on, will increase the amount of activity for young people in the borough, make the Sobell Leisure Centre a state-of-the-art, financially viable facility, while also creating more needed local jobs and apprenticeship opportunities. The proposals that we've put forward offer a financially viable, inclusive future. Now, to put it in a financial context, since 2010, Islington Council has lost 70% of its original budget. So we are working on 30% of what we had, having to provide all the services. I am the portfolio holder for adult social care and public health, and I know how much we need that money to look after our most vulnerable people, as well as our children, making sure that their future is better. The ice rink was making £250,000 before the flood per year. It was making that amount of loss. Looking at the figures, we estimate it to be over £400,000 per year if it was open and operating right now. It's money that we cannot afford to be losing. If we lose that money, there are other very vital services that we cannot provide. It's very important that physical activity is given high levels of importance, because there are many children who are unhealthy. There are high levels of obesity. We want to get our children active, quick, and get in there early so that there's early intervention. I'll just stop there, Leader. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Turan. Can I ask, is there any questions from members of the executive at this stage? Thank you, Councillor Halloran.
Thank you, Councillor Turan. I actually really welcome this. Since being elected as councillor, we've been trying to get more people active, whether it's been livable neighbourhoods. And I've so many residents now coming up to me saying, this is going to be amazing and we're going to do the right thing by all our residents. We're going to get more families. And yes, it is a shame for those with the small ice rink that's closing, but there's massive benefits with other ice rinks at Olympic size. We've got great transport, links in Islington right out the borough. So I just really welcome this, because I see we have a duty now to get everybody as fit as we can, because we know by helping that it helps the health service, it helps quality of life, and we want to get people active. That's why we're all about livable neighbours, walking and exercise. And I do believe this will bring more people into the ice rink as families. I look forward to it.
Thank you very much, Councillor Halloran. Councillor Ngongo, did you indicate?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I'd like just to echo what Councillor Oren said. We also welcome the idea, especially on young people approach, because since COVID, Leader, we realize in children's services the amount of anxiety and mental health is very high. For these young people to have more activities, they can do it at Sobell. It is going to help quite a lot. And also since COVID, you can see the amount of young people with obesity is very high. For that physical activities matters really for those young people. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ngongo. Sorry, Councillor Kondoko, did you indicate?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, also wanted to echo some of the comments that Councillor Turan mentioned around, just how devastating this is, that the the incident that happened with the flooding last year, the impact that it had on the entire leisure centre, and the loss that it's meant for all of us here at the council and our residents. And as is reflected also, the dire financial situation that we're in puts us in this hard place to consider what do we do going forward. And I've really considered the assessment that Councillor Turan and his officers have done to really consider what can we do going forward, what do our choices look like. I see that there is an opportunity to have an activity that provides more for more people in our borough, for our local residents. I welcome that it seeks to provide an activity that is more accessible to more people, and one that is accessible and inclusive to a wider range of our local community, particularly noting that, you know, ranging from young children to young people, adults, elders and people with disabilities. That are very much groups that we want to see more activities aimed at. And I welcome that these activities are also offered at in different ways and at different times to be able to cater for these different groups locally. I also welcome that this is a proposal of an alternative of what we could offer in the leisure centre that will go out to consultation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Wood.
Thank you, Chair. This paper wouldn't be here tonight if we were not having to make tough choices. And this year we've had to make a lot of tough choices. This year's budget was tough, maybe the toughest we've had. We had to make £12 million of budget savings. We have reluctantly made a further increase in the regressive and unfair council tax because we're forced in that system. And on top of that, you've got the twin evils of inflation and interest rates cloud absolutely everything we do as a council. And that's one of the reasons why the costs that Councillor Turan outlined have gone up so much, those two twin evils. And it's worth saying, this is all down to this incompetent Tory government. But it's we as a council that have to make the tough choices in the best interests of all the people of the borough. Not only this year, but we've had 13 years of austerity, 300 million of budget cuts right across the council. But amidst all those tough choices, we have to take a view and do what's best for the people of Islington. As Councillor Turan said, we would be spending almost £500,000 a year if the ice rink was currently opened. And as Councillor O'Halloran and Condocker have outlined, the proposed strategy in the paper will result in many, many more residents being involved in physical activity, and we need that more than ever. And also, I'd also would emphasise as well that we do have two excellent ice rinks. Even if the proposal goes ahead, we have two excellent ice rinks with direct bus routes from the borough that everyone can enjoy. So, very tough choices here, but we've been forced to make many tough choices over the last decade, and we've tried to do that in the best interest of all our residents.
Thank you very much, Councillor Ward. Any other contributions, Rowena? Councillor Champion?
Yeah, I mean, obviously this is consultation. We are listening to what people say, but I'm very, very glad that the proposals being put forward are proposing something which actually hopefully should widen access to activity for both children and young people. And I think it's particularly important that we make sure the offer for the slightly older children going into teenagers is a good offer, because it's those children that are often inactive at the moment, and we know that's leading to a massive public health crisis. I think, you know, I come from a very sporty background and I find sport fun, but we know that a lot of our children and teenagers don't. And I think we need to find imaginative ways to get them active. And I think this, as I say, if it's taken forward as the proposals are outlined, I think that this will do that. I think it's probably incumbent on me as the Exec Member for Environment just to reflect that given that there are two new ice rinks at Lee Valley and also the Alexandra Palace, whether or not we should be looking at consolidating the huge amount of energy loss that the ice rinks take up, the huge amount of energy use that the ice rinks take up, whether we should be consolidating them in these places rather than actually then having another very, very energy-hungry facility. But as I say, that's a small consideration. For me, it's actually about what is the best offer that we can give to people in Islington. But I'm very reassured by the fact there are the other rinks available relatively close by.
Thank you very much, Councillor Champion. Are there questions for any other members present? Councillor Russell? Oh, Councillor Benali?
Great, thank you. So this week, residents received an email asking them for their opinions on the fantastic new children's soft play centre. Until very recently, residents were told that the ice rink was coming back. And until a very short notice, residents have been told that they have to respond to a foregone conclusion, which doesn't seem to offer any kind of input to their ability to save the rink. Now, do you think a consultation that seems to present such a foregone conclusion damages faith in the council's procedures, and do you think whether or not it shows any openness to residents' ideas to help save the rink?
Thank you. Councillor Turan?
Yeah, Councillor Hamdash, thank you very much for your question. It's not a foregone conclusion. We are very open. We did not want to decide to close the rink because it was a decision that could have been made. But we are saying we are not minded to, if there are any other offers, if there are, say, people who can operate it and turn it into profit, we are even open to that. So we are open, we are listening. We've not closed our minds, but it is not financially viable. It's a loss-making thing that is costing all of us the services. So it is a consultation. It will begin on the 26th of May. It will last until the 7th of July. And in fact, we have already started engaging, some people, companies who were suggested to us by the representatives of ice skating, who we met last week. We had a very long meeting with them. We did listen to them and their frustrations and the reasons behind that. Obviously, communication is always something that we can improve on. It's never perfect. But we are working on that, and we will engage every single resident that writes to us, and we will consider everything that's been put forward to us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any other questions?
Could I ask for just a review of the comms that have gone out so far? I've had some good conversations with you about your openness to the rinks, but the email that I received as an Islington resident yesterday didn't demonstrate any willingness to listen. It presented the centre as a foregone conclusion, and I think if there is an openness to listen, that should be in the comms, because I have a lot of sympathy for the situation the council finds itself in, but I don't think you've got the balance right of those comms.
Sorry, was that a question or a statement? Okay, Councillor Russell.
Thank you, Chair. I'm concerned that you've given up. And I'm really glad to hear Councillor Turan just say that you are listening to the ideas that the residents suggested of alternative providers. Because from what I can see in these exec papers, you have taken the baseline as the way the rink was operating before the flood. Now, that was old kit. It was inefficient kit, it was wasting carbon, it was costing a fortune, but actually ice rinks can be run much, much more efficiently. Last night I did a quick Google to find out if heat recovery was something that could happen with ice rinks. Immediately came up an academic study from Sweden about how heat can be recovered from ice rinks and used for a heat network. You've got the Harvest Estate just across the road from the Sobell. This flood, which was catastrophic and absolutely terrible for our sports facilities in this borough, but actually, with some imagination and some thought about how to make a very green rink, there could even be benefits that could help residents in the cost of living crisis. Now, it may be that there's nothing in that. It may be that it's far too complicated, but it's disappointing that things like that have not been explored in this paper. And I think what my question is, will you please provide the figures for how viable that rink would be if you had up-to-date, modern, highly efficient kit to freeze the ice, And also, will you look into what they do in Belgium, which is where their rinks operate as a rink for 8 months of the year, and 4 months of the year, the hot months, they operate as a roller rink, so that they don't keep the ice going all year round. But that would mean that young people, and particularly girls in Islington, would have access. Teenage girls use that rink a lot, and it would be a real tragedy for them to miss out, because they're not all going to travel to the Lee Valley or to Alexandra Palace. Having a rink in Islington is a real asset to our community.
Councillor Turan?
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Russell, for that. Obviously, yeah, of course, we will be open and looking into all those things that you mentioned, Belgium, Sweden, definitely. With regards to the teenage girls, we believe that basically with the proposals which are in the paper will include, will attract many more teenage girls and many more young people. So that is one of the reasons as well why those proposals are there. Numbers-wise, estimates will be almost 10 times the number of people that were using the ice rink, which would be expected to the new place. Those are numbers, so I just want to put it out there. Yeah, thank you.
My main question, and I appreciate it was buried in a lot of words, was will you do the numbers assuming up-to-date, highly efficient ice rink technology, so that it's clear that the rink is not viable? Because the numbers you're using for this report, I understand, are the numbers relating to the old worn-out kit that was operating in the rink before the flood. And obviously, if Thames Water reinstate the rink, as they are meant to under the insurance, then obviously it would be, you would have up-to-date technology installed that would be much more efficient than the old kit, so it would be cheaper to run and there would be less coming out in the way of carbon emissions.
Jed Young, our director responsible for this portfolio, has indicated that he could be helpful in this response. Jed?
Yeah, sorry, just to offer some supplementary points in relation to that. So it's absolutely correct that the heat recovery technology could be added into a new system, and it would optimise the energy, but there will be a net energy cost to freezing water. Yes, there'd be heat recovery. It still would be an active energy consumption. It would be in deficit. It wouldn't generate any form of surplus. So in that sense, it wouldn't reconcile with the council's ambitions for net zero carbon very straightforwardly. We're going to take the recommendations away for some of those alternative systems that have been used elsewhere in Europe and investigate those. My understanding is that defrosting and refreezing ice rinks creates a kind of NFM, a facilities management risk, because some of the infrastructure can effectively metal can fatigue as it's defrosted and thawed out, so you can get some degradation and damage. But we'll absolutely investigate those alternative options, and if we're able to provide updated kind of carbon loss calculations, we'll include those in that supplementary decision, in further decision. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, can I ask, is there any members of the public who have any questions on this item? Please, there's a microphone just in front of you there.
Hello. My name's Dylan. I'm 12 years old. I'm a hockey player for the Lee Valley Lions Juniors Club, and I learned to skate at Sobell when I was just 10. And since then, I've grown massively as an ice skater. That's been my platform. But most importantly, I've grown massively as a person. I've gained confidence, and I've ultimately been taught a lot of skills that have helped me. And that's all thanks to Sobell, so I owe all the coaches and everyone there that. You've identified that the closure of the ice rink will disproportionately affect my age group of teens and young children, etc. But the council's proposals do not appeal to myself, do not appeal to my friends, do not appeal to anyone that I know of my age group, and they haven't appealed to anyone in the community who I've spoken to about this subject. And they surely don't appeal to the loads amount of people who are outside and the 4,000 people who have signed the petition. And we don't want to use soft play. Soft play shouldn't be a replacement for real sport. Soft play isn't something that we want to do. It's with young children, and I've never seen a teen do soft play. And the council should be reaching out to encourage young people to get involved with ice skating, including hockey and freestyle, so that people are into ice skating and not on the streets. Is the council aware, also, this is my question, are you aware of the programme to put Blades Belong on Your Feet, which promotes ice sports to protect people from getting into knife crime and other similar crimes? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Thuran, are you coming back?
Thank you, young man, for coming and putting your point across very elegantly. Not everyone enjoys formal sports, and that is an identified barrier for many people, particularly children. The extreme trampoline park, which was in place, clearly demonstrated the demand and importance of less structured, informal and fun activities. They are particularly important for families and young people. There are also clear health benefits for people. We call it active play, not just soft play. It's an unstructured physical activity which raises the heart rate. It's an important contributor to children's overall amount of physical activity. It supports children's healthy physical development, contributing to healthy weight, developing better motor skills, and supporting better quality of sleep, amongst other benefits. Active play is also very important for children's wider development. It encourages mental stimulation, developing social skills, exploration, and cognitive development and growth. The leisure market is also very different to the one that existed in 1973, when the Sobell was first opened. As well as providing a community sports offer and health and fitness, we need to provide a facility that draws in the highest numbers of users, especially younger people, and is commercially viable at the same time. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Thuran. I'd like to add to that that through the consultation, we will be doing our engagement, working actively with schools to make sure that we're getting the views of young people. Do you have a supplementary question? Yeah. Do you want to come to the microphone? We won't be able to hear you.
You mentioned 1973 and all that, but you didn't really answer my question. You never mentioned the Blades on Your Feet programme, nothing about that. If you could please just answer my question, that'd be grateful.
Yeah, I'm sorry for missing that, because there's lots on my mind, so please accept my apologies. But yeah, we will look into that. I wasn't aware of it, but we will definitely look into that. Thank you.
Are there any other questions from members of the public? Thank you.
I am a hockey skater with the University College London Yesies. Our university hockey players and figure skaters have relied on Sobell to provide easy access to ice for students who wish to try a unique new sport. If the Sobell ice rink remains closed, all 5 London University ice clubs will struggle to maintain beginners teams. In fact, one has already lost theirs and will no longer be able to cover the cost of putting on sessions. This means students will lose the teams that provide them with a safe space and a sense of shared identity. Given students cannot afford to travel to rinks like Lee Valley or Alexandra Palace, and they are over an hour away by public transport, our question is this: has the council considered the impact on students' participation in sports, and are they willing to see 5 more London University sports clubs with over 700 total members cease operating in the middle of a student mental health crisis? Thank you.
Councillor Thuran.
Thanks very much for that good question. My background is mental health, so I'm very much interested in that and ensuring that people's mental health is protected at all times. With regards to the clubs and people currently using the Sobell Centre, those that we know of, we will do our best and we will work with the Lee Valley Ice Centre. This is if the ice rink doesn't reopen, we'll make sure that everybody gets space for the same price at the Lee Valley Centre. So yes, it will be insured. That's all I can say.
And I believe Councillor Ward, do you want to contribute?
Good evening, sir. Believe it or not, I'm also a University College London student, so nice to meet you. Just on the buses point, there is a direct bus here in the borough to Lee Valley, and a direct bus to the Alexandra Palace rink as well. It's the 55 for Lee Valley and the W7 for Alexandra Palace. I do travel the 55 route with my daughter quite regularly. It's not over an hour from the borough. It's maybe 50 minutes tops. So there are, and the W7 I believe is about half an hour to Alexandra Palace. But thanks for your question.
Okay. Is there any other questions from members of the public? Please, can you indicate whether there are any further questions? Oh, okay. Can you organise amongst yourself? I'm going to take 3 more questions after this gentleman. So can you work out who those 3 are going to be, please? Please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Kevin Bez, and I've skated at Sobell for over 5 years now. I'm a hockey player. I'm also a chartered accountant by training, and I'm very concerned that the Council has prejudged the question of whether this rink can be run financially, viably and sustainably based on assumptions of financial data that are at best incomplete and potentially materially misleading. Financial data, such as data based on the last year before the closure, which was materially impacted by COVID, and during which the operator chose not to monetize the rink for up to 50 hours a week when its competitors were open for business. My question, therefore, is, in order to allay our concerns over the figures that are being used to make this decision, is the Chair prepared to provide full access to the analyses, the information and the assumptions underpinning the Council's viewpoint in order such that it could be reviewed externally? Thank you very much.
Can I ask, do we have any background information that might help on that, Andrew?
So yeah, there has been some questions about the usage figures, which we're working with the clubs around addressing those, but the financial information is correct based on that previous year. We have got the data for the financial performance from pre-lockdown, where it operated at a loss of about 100,000. The key differential is the energy price increase, which has been significant. But we can commit to sharing the information around the income and expenditure on the ice rink operation. It is booked and used all of the core hours. There is free time during the day in the week, but is not a time that has a high demand. But we've shared the programme with the stakeholders, and we will share the financial information around the ice rink operation. The loss that Councillor Turan spoke about before does not take in a full year of the inflated energy costs, so that would be even higher. So yes, there will be some savings from more efficient plant and equipment, but they will be more than offset by a full year of the high energy prices. That is what has really impacted the viability of this rink. But we will explore other options and other operators, and we've already made contact with those organisations to pursue that.
Thank you very much. That's, I hope, giving you some assurance there. Can I ask for the next question? Please come forward.
My name is Berry. I'm a skater. I'm an LSE undergrad, and most importantly, I'm a coach and I'm a woman of colour. I've experienced racism and other disadvantages in succeeding within my sport. Sobell Ice Rink has been a lifeline for me and has provided me with black representation within my sport. Sobell has promoted the careers of other women of colour, such as Davina Victory, who sits here with me, and Leslie Stewart, the first black skater that ever made it to the British Championships. I am shocked that Islington Council proposes to delegate the final decision with regard to the future of the ice rink to its Director of Corporate Resources. Surely such an important decision for the community and the equality implications of the community should be taken into account by the elected members of Islington Council, who can be properly held accountable. Thank you.
Thank you. Was there a specific question that you wanted answering at this stage?
Yes, we want full council held responsible for everything.
Request is for the decision to be taken by. Okay, right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Noted. Next question.
Hi, I'm Charlie. I started a change.org petition to keep the Sobell ice rink because skating has helped me a lot with my physical health and mental health. And I know it's helped a lot of other people too. My petition has over 4,000 signatures, including lots of comments from people in the borough about why the rink should be kept. Surely councillors should debate my petition and consider consultation responses before the key decision is made on the outcome of the consultation. My question is, why has the council put off holding my petition debate until after the key decision? Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Turan, can you come back on that?
Yeah, thank you. I mean, thank you for the questions. Everything will be, every respondents, whatever has been written actually will be responded to, and it will be taken into account, definitely. So, and with regards to the delegation to senior officers, it will still be following the consultation. It will still come through me, myself. I will look into, all the numbers, everything basically, before that decision we come to that decision. The main reason that we did like that, because it would have delayed the decision by many weeks, which we cannot afford to. It would have taken it well into September. And basically we've got restrictions with regards to insurance, because insurance will not pay. And again, that will cost us many hundreds of thousands, of valuable council resources, basically. So we want to make a timely decision and a correct decision. Thanks.
Thank you very much for clarifying on those points. We're now going to move on from this agenda item. Thank you. Sorry, was it one more? I've lost count. Please come forward.
My name's Phil. I'm an ice hockey player for the Sobell Sabres Ice Hockey Club. Councillor Turan's report has proposed the 25th of July as a decision date, but given that planning permission would be required for a change of use, how is he intending to fit that into this timescale? Or is he suggesting that the council commit to something for which they do not have planning permission? Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Turan, are you able to answer that question? Jed, please come in.
Yeah, so just in relation to that, it's not actually technically a change of use because it would be opened under the same planning class use. So there's not a change of use application that's required.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that point. And thank you all for your contributions this evening. Can we now move on to the vote on the recommendations as outlined on page 93 of the report? Are those recommendations accepted? Thank you very much.